I'm Christine. Welcome to the Recovering Perfectionist Podcast, where I empower you to develop sustainable habits, challenge society, and take messy action. It's time to align with the universe for the full human experience and redefine what it really means to be successful.
It's too good, the secret is out and wow.
Welcome back to the Recovering Perfectionist Podcast. As you know, this season we are in partnership with the Dance Wellness community, and I am here with another one of our incredible practitioners featured this month. I'm here with Andy Fitzgerald. Thanks for joining us.
Oh, you're welcome. Thanks for inviting me.
So exciting. We're going to start, obviously, with our kind of 3 questions, get the ball rolling so people can understand who you are and what you do. So first thing is, what do you specialize in?
I specialize in pro-am coaching for competitions and for health and wellness, mainly focused on the amateur. We, of course, work with professionals here and there, but they generally don't need our help as much as the amateurs do. So it is competition prep, and basically just getting ready for either your first comp or your 50th comp. Where are you at? What goals do you have? What are we looking to do? And I do one-on-one coaching online or in person. We also do quite a bit of fitness stuff, either online or in person as well.
Nice. I love that. I love that you specialize with the pro-ams because we have a few practitioners that's who they really help. Again, everyone targets a little bit of both, but it's always nice to, a lot of the stuff targets more the business side for the professionals. So
Yes.
I was very excited to chat with you about this because this is such a needed position. How long have you been doing this?
I have been, well, to backtrack a little bit, I've been competing now for 4.5 to 5 years. I can't exactly know. So it's been a couple of years of fine-tuning what we're doing, who we're trying to help out the most. So I would want to say over the last few years, especially of working more and more with people, finding out what they're looking for, how we can help them get to their goals. So give or take a couple of years is what I generally say is how, because I've always been working with people, but I finally realized I was like, there's kind of a market for this. This is needed more than I expected it to be, rather than just hang out with the people and talk. Now it's more goal oriented.
Right. Let's create some intention and organization behind
Yes.
it. And you are very, very active in the pro-am circuit as a pro-am
Yes.
competitor, very high level. So you are constantly getting real life feedback from
Yes.
judges, competitions, what works, what doesn't, right, like hot off the dance floor, and then giving it right to your clients, which is so awesome.
Yeah, because it's my passion. So I'm constantly, as you said, I'm constantly learning and growing with the field of it. And I'm looking at it in a much different scope than a lot of the people, I think, because I'm in the mix of being an amateur.
Well, right, because
and
it's always evolving. And so,
Yes.
I feel like the old school way of universities and stuff, you'd have someone that studied this 20 years ago, whatever the expertise is, then they go and they teach it for so long, but they actually haven't been active in the field
Very
for
much so.
decades. And so now they're just teaching from books versus what you're doing and what we're all doing now as coaches and practitioners, especially in our community, is really taking real life. People ask me all the time, I work with, burnout and systems and perfectionism. And they're like, oh, so you never burn out anymore? I'm like,
No.
I'm just better at recovering.
Yes, it's not the fact that the problem doesn't continue to happen. It's that you can deal with the problem 10 times better than what you could before.
Exactly.
And even still, we all have bad days. We all have the mental health days, everything. So yeah, I agree.
Yeah, but it's all how you deal with it. And you obviously get better and better, and you're able to coach people through that. So obviously, as we mentioned, your target client is more the pro-am competitors. But who is that? Like, what is that person thinking in their head? Like, why would they come to you? What is their main issue that they're like? What are some of the issues they're having?
Yes. So I think one of the main things that I've come across is, what are you looking to get out of this experience?
Mm.
I think that's the number one question that as amateurs we need to factor that in. So on one hand, over here on one end of the scale or the spectrum, you have someone who, I'll be honest, this is not a cheap sport, and they
Right.
have the spare income or whatnot to just go and have fun. And that is
Hmm.
great. Come, have fun, do that. And if you're looking for expertise as to, I want the newest hair and makeup, I want to know what the newest styles are, I want to know what any of those things are, that's great. Let's connect you with the people who, the clothiers, the hair and makeup people, all of those things. Or what competitions do you like versus what are you looking for at the competition? I
Right.
mean, we could, as we've discussed in the past, you might go to trying to think of, Emerald. That one's going to be much more high end to a certain degree
Right.
and
Well, the
much more
competition level is
the
different
competition level is different.
from, right.
Or if you're going to do embassy, that's worlds. So you're
Right.
going to be judged on a higher level. It's
Yeah.
going to be
What's
more
your goal?
technical.
Hmm.
Whereas people who are you like more along the lines of me, I have fun doing it, but I want to win. That's how
Yeah.
all of this came about was because I I want I want the title. I
Yeah.
want to win. And so that is going to include more work, um,
Right.
you know, and more strategy per se
Hmm.
of to go and say, okay, what or to even look at, the newest competition, the next one you're going to, who's your judging panel? To
Yeah.
take the time to research that. And I can look through and go, I know this person, this person, this person.
Hmm.
What do they specialize in? As we know, the judges, some are standard, some are smooth, some are
Right.
whatever. Take the time to Google their name
Right.
and say, hey,
Makes a big
what
difference.
what do they specialize in? So that you
Hmm.
know how they're going to judge you. I know when I first started, I was disappointed quite a bit in certain standard and smooth judges that weren't giving me the same as what Latin rhythm were.
Mm.
And no offense to them, but the Latin rhythm, they knew more of what my role as a leader should be than necessary. And I'm not saying that that other judge wasn't aware of the rules, but it's a
Right.
different perspective as
Right.
to, hey, I've done this because a lot of those judges they've done pro am, but
Right. Right. Right.
I tend to do better with female judges who did pro am Latin because they can see
Interesting.
how I'm moving, how I am
Right.
moving her around. So that I think the biggest thing is again expectation and let's have reasonable expectations. We're not going to go out and be perfect every time. I
Right.
I know what I know what to expect when I walk out on the floor. I have my rituals. I have my mental prep, my physical prep, my
Yes.
stretching, my all of those things, but also to have we're going to go out and do the best that we can and have fun. If
Hmm.
that means we're not going to score the highest, that's okay. It's a learning experience.
Yeah.
The judges are still getting to see me. They're still getting to
Right.
get a feel for
It's still floor time. And
it's
that's what I
still
love
floor
about
time.
you is because I love that you're like, listen, I want to win. Like you're
I want to
not
win.
shy about
Not gonna
that.
lie.
But also, every time I talk to you, you're always like, everything's good, you're having a good time, you're a
Yep.
very positive person. And so like you're right, that fun aspect, it's kind of like we were just talking about this before the call, kind of like the mental health of things
Yes.
that if
100%.
if you're not also if you're putting so much stress on yourself mentally, physically is going to be affected as well. And
Yes.
so
Yep.
by allowing
Very
yourself to say,
psychosomatic.
hey, listen, I'm still in this to have a good time. We're just dancing at the end of the day. We're
Yes.
not, in an ER room with high pressure. Like at the end of the
No
day,
one's gonna die.
no one's gonna die.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
I've yet to see that happen, but
So to have that level of fun still be, I
yes.
think that that actually makes you a better high-end competitor because you understand that if the judges aren't having fun watching you,
Oh
If you're
yeah,
not having fun, they're not going to have fun. It's a whole, it
yeah,
piggybacks.
it piggybacks because
Yeah,
there is the tech. What I found is this: there is a technical side to the dancing,
sure.
but I've also talked with some some of the judges that have been judging for years and years, and I have been told, if you could be technically perfect out on that floor, but if they don't feel that the connection is there with your partner, with the music, with that you're having fun,
Yep.
it they're not going to judge you as well because they're personally feeling your pain or your whatnot, and
Yeah,
that
it's human
and
judge. They need to
it
feel
they need to
moved.
feel how
Totally.
you're feeling and to relay that to them, is I've had plenty of times where I maybe didn't do technically as well as I would have liked, but I've also been turned around and told, you just have fun. We love watching you because you have
Right.
fun. Yeah,
You're
you messed up here and
charismatic.
there,
Yeah.
but you brought something else out because
Hmm.
they've been
Yeah, they're watching the
understand
same
these
thing all the
they're
time.
they're you're I'm sorry, the bronze level, yeah, they're going to watch the same 10
Right.
moves of the syllabus over and over and over again, that they want to see how are you interpreting that move within
Totally.
the syllabus. So
Totally.
yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I want to go back to something you said about your partner connection, because what I
Yes.
love about you have an amazing pro partner. You guys have been dancing together for how long now?
Since the very beginning, I've been very lucky to
Right. Which
um
is how long, just for those who don't know.
5 years,
Okay.
but we're
Yeah.
just under 5 years.
Yeah. So her name's
Yep.
Lisa. She's amazing. We love her. Shout out to her.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
and um, what I love about what you've said to me when we first met, and also just reiterating the partner connection as well, just how you have cultivated this beautiful partnership on and off the floor, this friendship,
Yes.
this trust. I think it's a trust
Yep.
thing the most with your
Hmm.
partner, knowing that they have your back, knowing you have their back, that you guys are a team out there. It's not this like, I'm in charge, you're not kind of vibe. There's a real balance there.
Yes.
And a huge part of that is, as we discussed a long time ago, is the cultural shock of
Yes.
working, because a lot of our professionals come from Eastern European
Yep.
countries, which is great. But
Yep.
there is a language barrier a lot of the times. There's a
Yes.
cultural difference. There's a work ethic difference from people who come,
Yes.
especially if you're in pro-am, not everybody goes out there wanting to win. But
Yes.
that Eastern, European mentality is like, well, if we're not
Yes.
going out there to win, what are we
What's
going
the
out there to
point?
do?
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
I want you
Yep.
to speak on how important it is to understand, because I know you guys at the beginning were definitely working through some of those challenges to kind of
Yes, of
find this
course.
beautiful harmony that you have now.
Yeah.
And I want you to speak to some of those people who might be having similar issues,
Yes.
understanding like, oh, I just don't understand my partner sometimes, and I feel like sometimes he's yelling at me, and really he's not,
Yeah.
or she, depending on, the
Yes, of
genders of
course.
the partners. But
Yep.
so let's speak to that a little.
So I will completely admit I lucked out. I was very blessed with, finding Elisa right away. I mean, it was kismet, it's whatever you want to call it.
Yeah,
Um, but there has to be a mutual respect, in
sure.
my opinion, both ways. So as you stated, it's a lot of these, your chances of you finding someone without a European accent of some kind is rather
Right.
slim.
Totally.
And or even second generation. I mean,
Yeah.
we have the people who came over and started their own studio. There's still how they are raised is
Yeah.
different than the quote unquote American culture. Um, so for them, it's to understand that they are not being hard on you. They're not being strict on
Yeah.
you. They're not being, I mean, I can't speak for everybody, but the majority or all of the coaches that I've worked with, due to outside coaching or whatnot,
Yeah.
they want you to do your best, and they're also viewing you as a representation of themselves, as any teacher would. And again, I think there has to be an honest conversation with your teacher, with your coach, as to what your expectations are going into it and what theirs are. So I can tell you when
Yes,
I
that's good.
first took lessons with Elisa, it was just for lessons. It was, I went in, we had fun. I've always had fun, but it was much, I mean, I'll be honest, I was in shorts, gym shoes,
Yeah, it was more
cut off
lax.
t it was very lax.
Yeah.
And
But you were probably just getting your feet wet. Like,
I
I don't
was
know if I
just
want to do
getting
this
my
long
feet wet.
term. I just got to figure it
And
out.
then
Yeah.
we I had made the decision that I wanted to compete. It was always an offer of, do you want to do this?
Right.
But then we had a serious discussion as to, I want to start competing. What does that look like?
Yeah.
What kind of investment, both emotionally, financially, time-wise, is that
Hmm.
going to be? Because, I've seen it happen where if you might be the best student on the planet and you're taking your X amount of lessons per week, but you're not practicing. You're not practicing on
Right.
your own.
In which case
You're
it's not, yeah, you're starting
eh,
over every time you have a
you're
new lesson.
starting over.
Yeah.
You're also dependent on the male, female, or leader follower role to understand what that role entails.
Hmm.
Um, you know, there are plenty of times that we, you know, she is an excellent coach, but at times we also pull her professional partner
Mm.
aside and go, how should this feel for him? How,
Right.
and vice versa. He has taken me and made me do the follower role so that, not that much, but I can at least feel like, oh, she needs me to give this,
Right.
to
That's
in
how it's
order to
supposed to be
receive it
led.
back.
Right.
That because and especially I think for, you know, because I am the amount of male amateurs is much less than the amount of female amateurs. I
Hmm.
mean, let's be honest.
Oh, absolutely.
It is more of a female amateur driven sport.
Right.
But um, I think a lot of amateur dancers fall into this whole, well, he's just going to lead me through it, or
Right.
she's just going to back lead me through it.
Right.
And that is only going to work for so long. That's
Totally.
only going to work for so long that at a certain point, and Elise and I did go through this transition over the last few years of, she's not going to do it for me,
No.
you know. And when I started realizing, and it's funny, we'll have a lesson and I'll look at her and go, why haven't you smacked me? And she goes, for what? I said, you've been doing all this work when I should have been, giving you the
Mm.
proper pressure. And she goes, well, you're learning that. She's like, I'm taking away me doing it to force
Right.
you to do it. And to take some responsibility that I think too, a large portion of, you know, the male professional dancers have a mindset of, we're just going to push her through this.
Right.
But
And
it
I love, and I'm
does,
going to cut you real quick because I
yeah.
love that
Hmm.
you in this position as one of our practitioners for the Pro-Am competition prep, you're a male. That's actually one of my
Yes.
favorite things because, as you said, it is a more female-driven Pro-Am industry, but all of your techniques and tools and resources and everything that you're going to offer um, our community is totally relatable to the women, but you also
Yes,
can speak to the
100%.
men, but also exactly
Hmm.
what you just said, which I'm so glad you brought it up, is that a lot of the women, they are they are being led through it's much easier, as they say, they show you on Dancing with the Stars, for the male professionals
Yes.
to lead a female celebrity than vice versa. And
Yes,
so for you,
100%.
you're able to see both sides of that coin, and you're able
Hmm.
to really help our female amateurs
Yes.
understand what their role is, why they need to do what they need to do, and how they can do that successfully and,
Yes.
sustainably, essentially.
Yeah, it's got to be a partnership.
Yeah.
And I think the the best pro-am dancers out there that I've experienced, whether male or female, is the pro is not dancing down to or above their amateur partner.
Yeah.
They're holding their own with the professional. And one of the best compliments that I've been given on one-on-ones with coaches is, they even said, she's not making it easy for you, but she's not making it harder. She's
Mm.
holding her own and she's forcing you to step up to the plate and
Right.
forcing you, and I shouldn't use the word force, encouraging me
Right.
to
Right. Right.
do
Right.
things
Of course.
properly.
Yeah.
And I think so much of the time, both male or female amateurs, you know, the strength aspect of certain of your shoulders, of certain
Right.
things that, you know, judges notice this. They notice if your arms are dropping or if you're hanging on your partner, or not
Mm.
providing support to your partner. They look at an elbow and they're like, "Yep, you're not doing it." Yeah,
Right.
but it's to, and I
It's to
don't.
better you.
It's to better you, and so
Yeah.
the partnership has to be one of trust,
Hmm.
of mutual respect, both for her as a teacher, because let's be honest, they are from a different culture.
Right.
The best way to ever compare it is Americans have a tendency to look at this as a hobby, not a sport.
Right. Well, it's a
Where
way to get away from your like
it's a
full-time
way to
job
get away from
and
all of
and
that.
feel like this can be a
Yes,
vacation,
exactly. And
yeah.
that's great. It should
Which
feel
is
like that
awesome. I
vacation.
love that our industry is that. Yeah.
Yes, but
Yeah.
if if I was 16 years old and had a football coach and that football coach was hard on me,
Right.
the culture is, well, yeah, that they're trying to make you better.
Right.
Whereas this culture is, this is their livelihood, this is their whole career. They have been doing this for X
Hmm.
amount of years, that we do need to provide them the same respect that we would provide to any other coach, if
Right.
that makes sense. And to
It
view
does,
it
but also
as,
I think
yeah,
it goes back to the expectations
yes,
because that
exactly,
that really
100%.
is top tier. It doesn't
Yeah,
matter if, someone is doing this as their career or someone's just doing it as a
correct.
hobby. If you want to win or you just want to have fun, what I love about our industry is that there's something for everyone,
There
right?
is
We can all go to
100%.
the same comp and have different goals,
Yes,
and use the same space and environment to thrive. But the expectations between you and your partner need to be on the same page. And if your
yes,
partner decides that, that's where I think the disconnect can happen, is that sometimes you'll have a competitive instructor who has maybe three or four competitive students and one student that doesn't want to be competitive, but she's coming to the comp just to hang out with the group and all that
of
stuff.
course.
That energy with her needs to be different than the three
Yes.
other students. Otherwise, that student needs to go to someone else, right?
Yes, yes. I
And no
100%
disrespect to
agree.
anyone with any
Yep.
students, but the idea is that we want to find the best match because I think that's the thing is it goes back to like how can we help and how can you
Hmm.
help specifically in what you do. And you, like you said, you kind of got really lucky at the beginning because you don't really know how this partnership's going to work out. A lot of people, they test
Yep.
out a few teachers and it doesn't work out, and that's
Yeah,
okay.
and that's okay. That's
It's
okay.
totally fine. It's kind of like dating and finding your final one.
Yep. Yep.
But that being said, you still had to work through some challenges of
Yes.
expectations of what you wanted, what
100%.
Elisa wanted for you. Because at the end of the day, she's there to facilitate your goals and dreams,
Yes.
right? You're paying
Yes.
her.
100%.
And so that's where that whole comes in as well. And we need
And
to
and
remember
to
that.
know and to know what I'm comfortable with.
Right.
I I'm sure we have had, and not to discourage anyone, you're going to have rough days. You're going,
Well, like
we
everything.
like
Yeah,
everything. And
that's
there are
normal.
days that I've walked out of there and been like, "Grr."
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But she's also, I've had to say, this didn't work for me. So
Right.
how
Communication. Speak
how do
up.
we communicate this?
Right.
And we pivoted. We
Yeah.
sat and went, okay, or just to explain something differently, because
Yeah.
I have a specific way of learning and she has a specific way of teaching. And where do we meet in the middle?
Right.
Or what does she need to change? Or what do I need to change? But again, communication,
Hmm. And
expectation.
that's what you're so good at is that you
Yeah.
have this calming, even just I'm listening to you talk and I'm
Yeah.
like, you're taking something that could be such a serious and
Oh,
aggressive
God. Yeah.
situation and you're like, your voice is soothing to me right now. I'm like, so to help, I think there's a lot of teacher students that go through some of these issues, and the
Yeah.
student may be scared to approach their teacher. The communication's not
Oh yeah.
there, or the teacher doesn't open the door to communication of like, give me feedback. And so that I think is going to be really helpful for you to help people in our
Yes.
community to explain to them, hey, why don't you try this prompt with them? Why don't you approach them and ask them this question or see if this works? I think there's going to be a lot of really helpful information there
Yeah.
when it comes to the mutual respect and expectations and communication of the pro-am partnership, because we don't talk
Yes.
about that enough. And I think
Oh,
everyone just
it's
assumes, oh, you can
so
go dance with
important.
anybody. It's like, you can't just dance with
Yeah.
anybody. That's not how it works.
Well, you could, but you're not going to get the
Well, the
same thing
results are
out
not,
of it.
yeah,
The
exactly.
results are totally different, and I've witnessed different partnerships.
Right.
I have plenty of friends who were with this one partner and they were doing well, and that partnership fell apart due to whatever reason,
Yeah.
and they got a different teacher. And I've had the privilege of saying to this was a female amateur, I was like, he's pushing you better in a good way. He is
Mm,
pushing you to be better. Whereas
yeah.
the other teacher just wasn't doing the same things.
Right.
And no offense to either party, it was she was getting something more out of it because
Right.
she was being pushed in a different way.
Totally.
And and that's okay.
That's
And
okay.
to
Yeah.
say maybe this partnership isn't the best. I can tell you I consider Elisa to be like my sister. I mean, we've been
Yeah.
through a lot, and the ups and downs and all of those things. But I think too, coming from the pro-am side of things, as you expressed, you know, people sit there and go, well, I'm just paying them. Like, we don't have to like each other. No,
Oh,
you
yeah.
should,
That's gonna
you
not make
should
for a great experience. Yeah.
exactly. And to understand again, what are their expectations of you?
Right. Totally.
Or and I think too, if you as I think as amateurs, we walk in and just go, you direct me. I'm not going to think about it. You just direct me.
Right.
And so therefore we haven't set any boundaries or expectations.
Boundaries.
And
That
in
word,
that
though.
in that that
Hmm.
coach, if you don't give them boundaries and expectations at the beginning, they're going to assume you have none
Right.
to a certain degree. So they might push you farther than what you're comfortable with,
Yeah.
or,
Well,
expect
and
certain
my
things
my
out of you.
totally. And my challenge to those people at the beginning, especially when you first join Pro-Am or you're with a new partner, is to challenge yourself. What do you
Yes.
want? Because
What do you want out of
as a
this?
coach, a high performance coach myself outside of the dance industry, this is what I focus on with my clients. The first
Yep.
thing I ask them is, what do you want out of life? And so many of them think they know and they
Yep.
don't actually know, and I like challenge them on some of the things they say, or they're like, you know what, I don't know. And I'm
And
okay
that's
with that.
okay.
That's
Yep.
fine. But I'm like, this is the first thing we need to figure out. There's lots of tools, lots of things that we're going to put in the community of how you can figure out what your core values are,
Oh
what
yeah.
you want your goals to be surrounded by that are projected towards your core
What's your
values.
personal mission statement? I mean, it
Exactly.
sounds
But
silly, but
nobody
what?
gets asked that and nobody knows.
Mhm.
And so then when they're going through life, they're like, well, aren't I just supposed to like, get a job, find something I love as a hobby, and then like pay my taxes and like go to sleep? And it's like, no, there's so much more to life than
There's
this.
there's so much more to life than
And
uh,
so dance isn't any different when you get into something like
yes.
this as a sport, especially when you have people competing like the professionals on such a high level that this is
Yep.
their whole life. There is the same concept of like, what are your values, your core values going into it? What are your expectations? Who's going to help you get through this? Like
Oh
hiring
yeah.
a trainer at the gym, and this is your coach, and make sure you set boundaries with them. And make sure you guys have respect for each other, and like you guys are working towards the same goal. Like it's
Yes.
all the same things as it should be in a partnership
In
in your
any
life.
personal or
Yeah,
any relationship in your life.
right.
I, I mean, it's you have to know what you want out of it, and is what you want out of it worth it? I think there are
Mm,
certain expectations of, well, this is just what it should be because that's what
right.
this person has experienced, or that's what the standard is, or that's
Comparison.
the
Yeah.
comparison.
Your journey
But
is your journey.
your journey is yours.
Yeah.
So, I think there is, especially when we talk about fitness and body positivity, you can watch, like you said, you can go and watch Dance with the Stars and see these female, professionals that I'm sorry, they've been doing it since they were 5. Their body is
Right.
built differently, that they
Totally.
have this certain body structure or
Right.
musculature or whatnot. And, you know, women are looking at that and expecting this, you know, out of the,
Yeah.
out of, an expectation that's
Well, they're like, if
unreasonable.
I join this sport, then I'm going to look
Then I'm
like
going to
that.
look like that.
And it's like,
It,
well, there's a
no.
lot in the middle there that you got to
And
do. And that's what I like what you do too, is you
yeah,
have, we're going to get into, your studio that facilitates this,
yeah,
but you have classes, you have yoga, you have fitness in the morning, you've
yes,
got, nutrition plans. Like, this is great. We have, Ricky Lee is our registered dietitian. She's fantastic. We've also
yeah,
got Christine Matsumoto, who is our, physical recovery and performance
yes.
coach.
Oh, so
But
needed.
there's so much to what you talk about as far as like a nice little package for the pro am competitor.
Yes, yes.
And so you started a studio. Like what?
That's what I'm sitting in. It
You
doesn't
didn't
look
have
like it.
enough going on.
Yeah. Yep. This is what I
It's
just
amazing.
wanted to give myself more pain. I don't know why,
No, listen,
but
what I
it's a
love
passion.
about it's a passion.
Yes.
We were in Arizona, my husband and I, a few weeks ago for work, and we were able to stop by. It's amazing. Tell us what it's called.
It is Garage Co. Dance and yoga studio. The reason it's called Garage Co. is my husband has a car collection, so we store
Like a
his car
really
collect.
awesome
Uh,
vintage one.
yes, he very much loves his cars. And so we combined our two passions into one space that we could both enjoy and get what we want out of that. And like in most relationships, the things he enjoys the most isn't necessarily what I enjoy the most, and that's
Right.
okay. But we can have mutual respect for each other's passions and find a common place.
Right.
So, we
But what a
opened up.
cool, like, you
Yeah,
walk in and then there's the studio space and then there's a
yes.
bunch of cars and it's
there
like,
there
what a
is.
cool, like, it's
Yeah,
so different from
it's
a regular
it's a
studio
it's a
vibe.
vibe. It
It's totally a
so
vibe.
it's a vibe. So you know, our studio here, I would love us to have more room. I would love us to be a quote unquote ballroom. That is not our
Right.
vibe.
No, and you just
Um,
started. It's
and we
brand
just
new,
started.
like like
We're
not even a month old,
Yeah,
barely.
yeah. And it's been our tagline slogan is where fitness meets the ballroom. It's where they
Love it.
meet. So we are very much, our studio is very much about whole body experience of dance. So we have practitioners who run classes, pretty much at least 3 to 4 classes, Monday through Saturday, of mindfulness, different versions of yoga.
Mindfulness.
So we
That's
don't
good.
have just a one. Here you go.
Mm-hmm.
We have more of a power yoga. We have more of a yin for recovery. All of those things, so that, and we also have just conditioning classes, body weight
Yeah,
conditioning classes, mindfulness classes, meditations, all of
so
those
good.
things where I want everyone to feel their best mentally and physically to
Mm-hmm.
improve their dancing. If
Love it.
you want to come in and just do the fitness side of things, do the fitness side of things. If But we also want to offer uh, fitness that is related, that can be directly related back to your dancing. So we work with all of our practitioners here to say, okay, this is the body type, this is the musculature, this is the certain muscles that, as a ballroom dancer, what they're using, and even per
Mm,
style of to say,
very good.
we thank goodness we actually just brought on a recovery specialist as well who used to be an on-point ballerina. So she can sit back
Wow.
and go, yeah, this is where you need to be stretched. I can tell you when I first started dancing, I thought there was something wrong with my right knee. I thought, oh,
Hmm.
I'm X amount old, and it ends up I have a posterior or anterior pelvic tilt, which was putting pressure on my knee. So it was proper stretching and
Interesting.
within a week, that pain was gone. I was able to dance more. But I was
Wow.
not aware of that until I worked with someone who said, no, your dancing is causing this because you're not holding your body in the correct way. And the
Wow.
pressure is going to a different spot. So we're offering pretty much full mind body. Uh,
So cool.
Currently, we are doing it in-house for people in the Phoenix area, but we are
Hmm.
developing an online presence through, we believe what we're going to be doing is a Patreon account. We're
Okay.
hoping to launch that here very soon if it hasn't launched already by the time this by the time this gets sent out, where we're doing more of 30 to 45-minute videos of everything from yoga to stretching to meditation to mindfulness to sound baths. I mean, just to
Oh
get
my
your
God. I love that.
breath work techniques,
Yes.
all of those things. And, to work with even your practitioners to go, hey, you've got a dietitian on
Hmm.
staff to sit there and go, what are your recommendations? can
Right.
can we give something, because we're a big team here. We need to be able to help everybody into
Right. So
I
that's what I was
I'm
gonna
not I'm not an
transition
expert at
into.
everything. I
Yeah.
can know in my head that I need to do A, B, C, and D,
Right.
but sometimes it's not what you know, it's who you know.
Totally.
And to partner with the correct people. And the
Yep.
nice thing about this format with Dance Wellness and what you've created, which I have to applaud you for as well,
Thank you.
is is we are a small group who's spread across the country.
Yeah.
We're a large group, I should say, that are small community focused,
Yeah.
but we're spread out.
Right.
Whereas anyone who's been doing these competitions for a long enough time, I have dear friends that I only see once or twice a month. But we
Yeah.
go and we're invested in each other's lives. We're
Yeah.
friends on Instagram, we're friends on Facebook,
Right.
where we
You
have each
check in with
other's
each other.
phone
There's depth
numbers.
there. Yeah.
And the nice thing is they, with their help, they push me to do better
Right.
and I push them to do better. And I'm talking about people I compete against on a regular basis,
Oh yeah.
who
Because we all love each other at the end of the
we
day.
can celebrate each other's wins.
Totally.
There's a female competitor and her partner who are very good friends with, and we're constantly competing against each other. And she might win some, I might win some.
Right.
And for a while there, she was beating me all the time, and I
Yeah.
won. And I got in first, and she pulled a second. I have never seen someone so happy to get a second place
Oh, she was happy
because
for
she
you.
she was happy for me that I had
Yeah.
achieved that goal.
Right.
And
Because she knows how
so
hard you worked.
because
Yeah.
she can see the improvement more than I can because
Totally.
I'm in the foxhole of sitting there doing the same thing over and over and
Right.
over
Right.
and
Right. Right.
over,
Right.
and I'm not seeing the little change. I'm not seeing the improvement on it.
Right.
Whereas she looked and she's like, "Well, a month ago you couldn't do that move at all,
And
and
now look at you. Right.
now look at you."
We need those
And
people in our lives to
we
hold us
and
accountable
to
and be like,
have that
look at what you've
community.
done.
Yes,
Yeah.
to have that community and sometimes to just
Yes.
have someone, I mean, to the viewers out there, I call this girl. I've had bad days and I'm like, why am I doing this? I don't think I
Yeah.
can make it
You
through.
need
And
someone in your corner, a
you need
cheerleader.
someone in your
Absolutely.
corner and to give and to say it's going to be okay. Or you know what? Maybe that's not going to work. Let's pivot. Let's figure
Right.
out what is in your wheelhouse or what's a reasonable expectation as to what goals you want.
Yeah.
But
So I
still,
want to speak on two of
yeah,
the things that you said here, because first of all, it is the dance wellness community, and the community is the
yes,
biggest aspect.
that's
Well,
the
I guess
biggest
the
part of it.
wellness is the biggest aspect, but the community is why we're here. And
Yes,
so, as you said, yes, we promote the practitioners, their expert, advice and guidance and tools and resources. We want to give so much value in this, private membership that we're starting, that
yes,
we've launched this month, and all of these things. But on top of that, everyone helping each other. Like,
100%.
someone coming into the community to seek advice from the practitioners can also help another person that's coming into the community to seek advice from the practitioners, because there's this whole, oh, well, I actually went through that, so let me help you with that.
Hmm.
When I was pregnant, going through these mommy groups, some of them were
Yeah,
pregnant, postpartum, all this stuff, and we were able to help each other. Oh yeah, I've been through that. Oh, I've done this. And it's like, and then you have
yep,
the birthing coach that's like there to guide us all. And that's kind of how I see this whole
yes,
structure, is that we'll have a news feed and a chat room and everything where people can ask their questions.
of
and
course.
and the practitioners, let's put it this way, the practitioners are not the only experts in the community. We all have experiences and we all
Yes.
learned from our experiences, and we can help so many different
Oh,
people
of course.
by
I,
coming together with a common goal.
mhm. A- and, and to sit back and be able to appreciate your partner in crime,
Yeah.
to sit there and go, okay, you know, I, I love working with people. I love helping people to achieve their goals, but I also want to be a voice of reason to a certain degree of,
Right.
and when I say that, it's because I, like probably most of us, have set unreasonable goals for myself. I can be a perfectionist. I can be all of these
I can
things.
help you with that.
Yes, as you have. Um, but it's to sit back and go, what are you? Because if we're not having fun, if we're
Right.
not, if we don't have a larger reason as to why we're doing an activity, the the self-motivation will die
Hmm.
away.
Totally.
If we can sit back and have this, well, I'm going to do this because of this, and this. But if you're not getting enjoyment out of it, if you're not,
Yeah.
if we can talk about weight loss in general. People yo-yo back and forth and all this thing. And I've personally done it. That's why I'm so passionate about it, is because I've sat back and went like, oh, I think I should be this weight, or I think I
Hmm.
should be this size. And I, like everyone else, turned on Dancing with the Stars and I'm watching Derek Hough. I do not have Derek Hoff's
Right.
body.
Right.
I
My
would
God, I want to
love,
look like Derek Huff.
yes,
How
but
good he looks.
Derek Hough is a different height. He's a
Right.
different body type. He's a different
Totally.
all of these things
Yeah.
that I had to sit back and go, how do I achieve his level of perfection with the tools that I have in my body?
Right.
And to go, because it's yes, these people have been doing it since they were 5 years old. Don't get me wrong.
Hmm.
If you're willing to put in the time and energy into it, you can still learn how. You might have to learn in a different way. You might have to
Right.
learn whatever. But also,
But
I
your
could,
goals might look the same, but it
they,
also will find its own way to be your
yes,
goal. Your goal's never going to be the same goals as Derek
yes.
Huff because it's just
And
different.
it's
Yeah.
just different. And I
Yeah.
should not expect my body to look like that,
Right.
but I can have expectations of, okay, if, I would love to have, my stomach be flatter or any of those things. It's okay, well, what do we need to do to achieve it in a healthy way, in a healthy manner, in an achievable manner? You
Totally.
know, it's, and, I'll be the first to say, I love lifting weights. I love doing all of those things,
Yeah.
but I gained muscle way too easily. And it actually was a hindrance to my dancing because my arms were getting too big. And so,
Interesting.
yep, yep. My coach, Elisa, was like, you need to stop lifting. And I'm like, why? She goes, I know you like your guns, Andy, but your guns aren't helping you.
Well,
And
and you know what's funny that you say that, because my dad used to say that too. He's like, I want to work out, but not enough, not
mhm,
so much that I start looking like a
yep.
bodybuilder, because that's not the dancer look. And like
It, it
it affects like your lat muscles and how you can
mhm.
squeeze, and when you're doing certain things in Latin, like it's
I get
totally,
a
yeah.
little too high with right here, I've been told. And the thing is that yes, there is a look. 100%.
Sure.
There is a look to it. There's a
But there's
certain,
also your look within that look.
yes.
And that's what
I
we need
can
to
tell
not
you,
forget.
people have asked me, what styles do you like to dance? What do you like to do? I don't think I'm ever going to be the standard guy. I'm just not. That's not my vibe.
Well,
That's not my
yeah.
personality. Because there are certain standards to it. I like
Right.
having my beard.
No pun intended.
No pun intended. But two, it's half the time you guys will see me with my nails painted, all of those things that doesn't necessarily fit the expected standard when you're stepping out onto the floor.
Right.
But but I don't want anyone to be afraid to push the envelope a little bit, to
Agree.
to go in and kind of go, hey, this sport is evolving. I can tell you from 5 years ago when I started to right now, it's evolving. It's
Right.
constantly evolving. There are so many
Totally.
people like you have the old guard of the judges who have, been doing
Hmm.
this forever and ever, but you also have the new people coming in. You have those new judges that appreciate the drive to do something different. Because again, they've seen it all. They've
Right.
experienced it all. They've done it. So if they can, one judge that I talked to was like, you know, one of her coaches forever ago, she said, "Well, I want to look like this, and I think I should do this, and whatever." And her coach said, "Okay, do it. Just do it," because she's like, "You have a better idea in your mind as to what it should look like
Right.
than you trying to explain it to me. I can tell you how to structurally
Good point.
maneuver your body, but if you want it to look a certain way or you want to present yourself in a certain way,
Right.
that's on
You're the
you.
you're the only one that can paint that picture. You're
You're
the
the
artist.
only one. You're the only one.
I
And
love
I'm a
it.
very strong believer in dress for the job you want,
Yes,
meaning,
same.
meaning and I think so many people take that as a literal clothing, but it's
No,
it's a
yeah, it's an
ment
attitude. It's
it's a
emotional.
mentality
Yeah,
of
totally.
hey, I you know what I've woken up and I started doing tags of Latin dancer life and not no more
Yes.
dad bod, whatever. Those words matter.
Love it.
Words start here, they start going in here, and then they'll start going in
That's
here.
right.
But you need to start even faking it here. And we
Mm-hmm.
can get people to, you know, believe in themselves enough
Mm-hmm.
to achieve whatever they need to. It,
Love it.
you know, and
That mindfulness, that
that,
yes,
yes.
absolutely. Absolutely. I
Yep.
fully love that. So as you mentioned before, we, as you can see, you know, speaking to our audience here, we have so many resources between the two of
Hmm.
us, Andy and I,
Yeah.
between all the things that I've created now with Dance Wellness Community, all these
Yes.
incredible practitioners that you have slowly started to
Yep.
experience and get to know. And now Andy, with so much with this, that he's going to create this platform with
Yep.
Garage Co. and all of these things. Again, if you're in the Arizona area,
Please come stop
please
by.
go give him, stop by his place. It is amazing, and you will be welcomed with open arms.
Yes.
But if not, he everything that you see, and that he's discussing, he's going to slowly start rolling some of that out in our community, and that's why he's here. You were one of the
Yep.
first people I talked to about the dance wellness
Yeah.
community. I was so excited to share this idea with you.
Yep. Yeah, it was great minds think alike, or
Totally.
we're drawn to people who, have the same vibe is what I believe it
Yes,
is,
absolutely agree.
if you present yourself and you put out into the world what you want to get back, you will have those same people brought
Amen.
into your lives. And we have to recognize that and be thankful for those things
Right.
and how much they improve our lives and our brains and our hearts and our minds and all of those
Yeah.
things. Because I think what helps me is I can wake up in the morning and think I'm completely alone in this. That, I
Mm,
suffer from anxiety and depression and think I, I I'm not going to make it through. No, if it was me alone, I probably wouldn't make it through.
right.
But I can reach out and take someone
Right.
else's hand and maybe focus on them, maybe do something like that. And it can completely change your outlook on life.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I believe dance has done for me
Mm,
is to change it. So yes, I can say, yes, I'm a better dancer, but I can also say I'm a better human being in general, just
mm.
from being
I
able
love that.
to put my focus into something and to have a
Yes.
reason to go to the gym, have a
A
reason to a
purpose.
purpose within it. And everyone's purpose can be different. As we've said
Yes.
previously, if your purpose for going and taking dance lessons is just to go and have fun. Let's do that. Let's have
Right.
fun.
Or to do cardio,
Oh
whatever it
yeah,
is.
it's
Absolutely.
people sit back and go, you know, as you probably know better than anybody, body standards in this world are insane. But
Hmm.
ironically, in my opinion, body standards within the ballroom dance community are completely different.
Totally.
I totally, because judges, you
Hmm.
know, they look at, I can be worried about that I have a
Right.
little bit more fluff in my stomach, they don't look at it. I've sat and thought I was fat, and they're like, no, we're looking at your feet, we're looking at your legs, we're looking at something
Right.
totally different than what you're thinking we are.
Totally.
And
That's
to
great to
have
hear
that
that feedback. I'm sure
perspective,
a lot of
yeah,
people really appreciate hearing that. But
yeah,
like you said, it's going into it with your expectations, and there's a
yep.
community here to help you. We all at some point have gone through what you're going through, and we're all just trying to help each other out
Yes,
and create these resources and tools for you to have
yeah.
a easier experience than those who, had to learn it the hard way. So, um, I love it. I am just so obsessed with you. You're fantastic. You're always improving. You're always positive. You're always so wonderful to talk to.
Oh,
And
thank you.
I am just so honored to have you as part of this community and all
I'm
of,
honored to be a part of it. And yeah,
yeah, it's just wonderful. And I know we're going to help so many people. And honestly, like, might be a little selfish, but I'm kind of excited because I feel like we're going to get so much help too.
oh,
I'm
it
like, it's going to be like a whole
yes,
circle of healing. I'm just so
yeah,
excited.
and to everyone out there, it's literally, I can sometimes be the worst at remembering someone's name,
Yeah.
but I can remember how they dance. And if
Mm.
anyone sees me, I mean, out at a competition, I mean, you and I, we hit the same ones, and it's an immediate run up and give a hug,
Oh, totally.
and it's a run up.
Totally.
So if anyone recognizes me from this and just wants to say hi, feel free.
Yes.
If
Or
you
ask a
see me out,
question or
yes,
whatever.
ask the
Yeah.
questions. Let's talk.
Totally. Yeah. The whole
It's,
point of this is to start the
yeah,
conversation.
yes,
Like
100%.
that's what we're trying to do here. We want to start the conversation on
Yep.
wellness, and we don't want you to suffer in silence. We want you to have the resources so that you
Yes.
can still be a high achiever, achieve all the goals you want, but
Yes.
do it sustainably without burning out and being exhausted and feeling like you're just
Uh-huh.
getting through the day. That is not the fun part, and that is not the goal here. So
That's not our bliss over here.
it is not our bliss and that is not our vibe. So we are
Exactly.
so excited to be launching our paid membership.
Yes.
All of the
Sign up.
links,
Sign up.
yes, all of the links are in the show notes for Andy, for his Garage Co, for any, all of his social media platforms, booking calls
Yes.
with him, all of that, but also for our membership. And he is going to be very active in our private membership
Yes.
community. He's already got a lot of stuff in there, and
Yep.
as well as our 7 or 8 other practitioners. We, a few others are trickling in as we go, but right now we have a solid 8 practitioners who are
There we go.
just incredible. And if you need to get to know few more of them, we've got videos on all of them as
Yep.
well. Follow the links, they're all there.
Yep.
Thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
everything that you do, for chatting with us and sharing your vision and your passion and your love for the sport. It is just such a beautiful thing that we are able to connect through dance. I feel
Yes.
so blessed
100%.
that this sport has brought me so many
Yes.
incredible humans and has, like you said, made me such a better human as well.
Yeah. Yep.
And the possibilities are endless. I cannot wait to see where this goes.
Of course. I agree 100%.
Yay. All right,
Okay.
guys. We'll see you next time.
Secret is out and wow. Uh huh.